To go. Alright, so hello everyone and welcome back to Factorio. Let's click resume, and when we last left off, we had, let's see here, I can't remember what we had just immediately done, but I remember that we had gotten a nice solid supply of coal to Vulcanus, and so this is going to be heading over there and providing more. And we're gonna have to just figure out how much storage we need and if we need more production, which would be a bit of a shame because it would mean expanding this, or I guess maybe just copy pasting a second one in, but that either way would require a lot of work. So hopefully this platform is enough. If it isn't, then we'll just have to figure that out then. But hopefully it'll be fine. So our goal is we need to get artillery going back on Novice, because if we zoom out, we can see the biters are right up next to the walls basically everywhere, which is very far from ideal. Especially in this area, where we frequently want to have drones path over this way, and then they get obliterated by all the biters. So, the plan is we get artillery launching. So we need to get, we need to get this stuff up here, and bring it into this, and then it goes all the way into our rocket launch systems, where we actually have multiple spare rockets lined up. Then it gets hooked up onto this space platform and brought back to Novice. So that is the plan anyways. Now, yeah, that's very much exactly it. So we need to take care of all this, and we need, how did that get onto that belt? Is that something that's happening? I think I just saw another one. Oh, okay, so these ones aren't set up properly, so that's the problem. Alright, fix that, and we're gonna have to dismantle and rebuild some of those belts to get rid of that stuff, and we missed one. There we go. Alright. I always forget that you have to do that. Alright, so now that's set up. We just need... We really need this to be producing more carbon than it is. So I guess this second row needs to back up all the way before it'll work entirely. In the meantime, we're going to be using some of this. Yeah. What does the space route look like? It's biggest over there, but then the medium ones are biggest sort of in the center. Yeah, so the medium carbonic asteroids are biggest, like, right in the center of the whole thing. So that's a bit weird. Okay. So we just need to hope that we can build up enough that it all works out. We are getting a good amount of coal here, so hopefully... Again, I don't really know how much we need to be able to store, but hopefully just enough for a full trip to not waste any production would be cool. Alright, so this is going on. And I can't remember if there are any, like, ammunition problems on this. I don't think there were. I think our ammunition production here was good enough. So hopefully it stays that way. And then back on Vulcanus, we just need that coal to show up so that we can get this whole thing going again. And this is set up to want tungsten plates. Okay, but I think we might need to... You might need to set this longer, just so that we have enough time to launch everything if it's possible to do so. Because I think last time we turned around and left too quickly to get everything loaded up, which we definitely don't want. Okay, and then these two are both set to automatic requests, and we have like 3 4/5 rockets ready to go. And let's actually make this... Let's actually make that 1,000. I mean, it's not like we're short on space in here, and we just want a lot of tungsten. And in order to make that work, we're also going to have to give you a second row to fill up, so that production can happen. I don't think this takes... Yeah, so this doesn't take anything that we need coal for, so that should be fine. Back on Novice, there are biters everywhere. And then back on Gleba, there's probably some pentapods that are going to cause problems. But it does seem to be working more or less correctly. Epic quality, almost done researching. So that will be cool once we get around to doing anything with quality, which I think we might do. It might be relatively soon. I don't think it'll be like the next thing we work on, but I think it is coming up pretty quickly. Alright, so this is pumping out all the coal, and we are stockpiling a whole lot of it. So we're up to like 3.5 thousand coal ready to go. And we're almost there. So now we can do this. So pretty much the moment we stop there, we're going to launch all that coal down, and then we're going to start getting some return trips. So there it goes. And we are still providing more coal, and actually quite a lot of it at this exact moment. At this exact moment, we're going pretty well on the carbon production, which is cool. Also, it's really windy outside. I don't know if that gets picked up on the mic or not, but it's insanely windy. Okay, so meanwhile, down on Vulcanus, we've got these guys up and running. And that should get that across. So that's launched once. This is launched once. We're sending cliff explosives up. And that's fine, I guess, as long as we do eventually get the blue circuits to launch up the tungsten. How much cliff explosives are we requesting on Novice? So you were requesting 40 cliff explosives, and currently we're 20 short, so this next supply should be all of that. So back over to here. We are getting blue circuits. It is happening. Somewhat slowly, but it is happening nonetheless. Alright, that's good. Alright. So, we're getting there. We might launch another one before this leaves. Yeah, we should definitely be able to. We might even get another one. Alright, so off you go. Please fill with something useful like tungsten. What else might you pick? You might also pick big mining drills or foundries. Okay, apparently the answer is more cliff explosives. Not tremendously useful, but it's fine. Could be a lot worse. Now, how is our heavy oil supply going? We actually have technically some heavy oil supply building up. It's not just sitting at 0. We are actually producing some. And we're using probably a lot of that on cliff explosives. But that's fine. Alright, so this is going. And we're launching, sending even more coal down, which is great. Every little bit counts. Okay. So now the wind is really loud. Sheesh, that's crazy. What if we'll lose a tree or something? That's a bit concerning to hear. Alright. Well, it should be fine. Alright, we have another rocket prepared. Let me guess, more cliff explosives. Alright, up you go. No, you're taking big mining drills. That's better. Definitely use some of those. And once you have that... Okay. It's gonna be a while. I guess it's decided that the tungsten plates are just like the lowest possible priority. For some reason. I need to set that request up to 1,000, by the way. And we're probably going to need to leave and come back for the supply purposes. So yeah, this seems like this was a pretty decent length weight above the planet. Sending off a tiny little last chunk of coal. And should be all set. Alright, so back here on Novice, we are short a couple big mining drills, some cliff explosives, and then some other stuff as well, which we're always going to be short on. And then we just need to wait for the tungsten to show back up. Alright, so this is headed back. Now, how is Vulcanus doing? It's got some heavy oil, but it hasn't got the coal to produce more. So that's just gonna deplete until it's gone. Gosh, this whole coal supply thing is kind of brutal. Like, you just run out instantly. At least we got a good chunk of stuff out of it. But yeah, the chemical plant draining all the coal for explosives probably is not helping. Alright. Epic quality is just about done. And we're collecting more coal. Alright, meanwhile, back on Novice. In order to get to the uranium, we have to get through either all of this, or get through that and dismantle like half of my solar panels to get a train track down there. So neither of those are exactly appealing. I think going around would be better if we have artillery to make it easy. Alright. Epic quality is finished researching. Let's see here. What do we want? Plastic bar productivity would be helpful for the coal-related issues that we're having. Rocket fuel productivity and low density structure productivity are also kind of cool. But let's just... Actually, do we go to the next... Do we go to the next planet already? Do we just start preparing to go to Fulgora? Nah, I think it's too early for that. Let's do plastic bar productivity. I think once we have artillery set up, then we can start thinking about going to the next planet. But until we have that, until we have like artillery to have novice back and stable, we're just gonna break things if we try to go to the next planet too early. We need to focus on getting what we have stable and functional first, I think. And speaking of which, is this doing fine? Yeah, power production is going well. There's a whole lot of asteroids. That's going fine. This is doing okay. Alright, yeah, I think everything on this space platform is basically stable. So that's pretty cool. It's just producing a lot less coal than I would maybe like. So, how do we fix that? Well, the way to fix that would be... The problem is that this isn't receiving enough asteroid chunks. Like, it's just burning through all the asteroid chunks it gets really fast. And the way we can improve that is just by, like, physically making it wider so that we catch more of these guys as we pass. So that might be the strategy. I do want to have artillery back on Novice before we send this thing in for yet another expansion, although it should be a pretty quick expansion, right? I mean, Novice has full sets of rocket launches and plenty of supplies to craft the new ones fast. Actually, Novice is also starting to get a bit desperate for coal. So we might need to get one of these that supplies coal to Novice as well, which would be awkward, although Novice at least you could just grab more coal from down there. It's not that bad, as opposed to Vulcanus where there is no coal in sight. And I don't want to head into Demolisher territory because those guys are annoying. Alright, so yeah, I think we should probably get this expanded out. So you can just stay. So we're gonna just put that in so it'll just stay when it gets to Novice, and then I can start redesigning it, which should be quite straightforward. So we just need to like add wings out to the sides basically, which apparently the width slows it down a lot, which would be a shame, but as long as we have enough storage to hold all the coal that we produce during the process, it should be fine. Like, speed is only a problem if we wind up at full capacity, which if we do, we can easily just shuffle some of these solar panels around to get more space. Okay, so right now is sort of the peak of asteroid production. So we're up to like 1,000 coal almost. Let's see. I want to see how much coal we get over the course of a single trip, because that would be a good metric. So we have 48 kilometers per second, and we are getting like 1,000 plus coal. We might need to also expand this bit, the loop, out, just so that it physically can store more asteroids if that becomes a problem, which I don't know if it will. These guys can actually store a solid amount of asteroids themselves, so it'd probably be fine. Yeah, it probably would be fine. Alright, so now we're almost at Novice, and the amount of asteroid chunks is going to be slowing down pretty quickly now. So, let's get... Now that we're basically there, let's go space platform exterior. So, let's see, the ammunition is the near belt, and the rocks are the far belt on this. Right, I remember this is all messed up because this is a relatively old design. Alright, so we should just be... We need to leave some space to connect it across, so I guess we just do something like that and something like that. Should be fine, and then this would go here, and then maybe we have to push it like one more over. So then this can come in like that. This can come down like this, and there we go. So let's just expand this out like 3, and we wound up with like 1.7k coal after a single leg of the trip. So how wide is our front currently? It is currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide. Alright, so if we then just get 3 of these on either side, that should like double it, right? In theory. Alright, this one is going to need even more space because we need to mess around with what layer everything is on. So, okay, wait, no, this needs to actually be flipped. So you need to be flipped horizontally so that the ammunition goes out and the asteroid chunks come in. And you just get plopped in like that. The gun turrets do cover that far, so that should be fine. Okay, so we need to just split off of there, basically. And then go across like that. And then need to go up here so that that is still a properly functional external thing. And then this is the ammunition belt, which goes over this way. And then we have our asteroid belt, which goes over that way. And then we just get another 2 of these, and that should, in theory, have everything covered. This is going to involve more ammunition consumption to have more of these guys up, which hopefully will be fine. And let's see, are we forgetting anything? Is this all set up properly? This is facing the wrong way, so let's fix that. Alright, so that should be better. And now it's getting built up. Okay, that chunk needs to be filled in. Let's see if we missed anything over here. We did. That chunk needs to be filled in. Alright, so now that is functional, as is that. And alright, should be set up. Just have to give the ammo some time to filter back. And okay, apparently we're still not quite finished with the asteroid collectors over there. So we'll give it a little bit of time for that. And the belts. Alright, so the asteroid collectors are in. So there we go. And then we just need, actually those belts, we don't need them. So let's just remove that, I guess, for now. Although we'll regret that if we want to expand this more, but it's really not that big of a deal. Alright, so now we can remove that requirement and send it off. Looks like the extra belts did wind up showing up. Alright, so now we're off. How much slower is this gonna be once we're up at max speed? The amount of weight we added should be minimal, although we did make us significantly wider. So that is going. And yeah, this does seem to be like dramatically slower, unless we're gonna keep accelerating this whole way through. Yeah, I think we might be traveling at like a third the speed, which theoretically actually means we'll be spending more time in the sweet spot for asteroid collection, which might be handy. Although it'll also mean we'll be spending more time out of the sweet spot for asteroid collection, which might be bad. I guess we'll just have to see. Okay, it's saying not enough thrust. That's not good. So you don't have enough oxidizer. Okay, no, the oxidizer is building back up. So that was just a temporary thing. That's just stuff happening on Novice. Wait, no, now the oxidizer is going down again. Okay, so it looks like we have a bit of an issue with metallic asteroid collection. So we don't have enough iron input to do all of this, which means we might need to productivity module those. Yeah, so now thrust is basically 0 and we're just sort of stranded in the middle of space. Although we are getting asteroids. Hopefully some of them will be metallic to get us going again. Alright, I think we might sort of wind up caught in a bit of a loop here where we use all of our thrust, don't get very far, and then we just sort of stay like this. Yeah, this is a bit awkward. So we need more metallic asteroids. That's like the main thing. Which currently we are basically instantly recycling all of them and not even doing it very efficiently. But we do need to have those recyclers. So, I don't know. Seems complicated. So yeah, basically in order for any metallic asteroids to get done, they have to come from this side, basically, so that they can go in to here first. Otherwise, they're just going to get recycled out. Or I guess they can just get lucky. That works too. Wait, no, then we have these guys also recycling. Okay, yeah, no, this is a problem. We need to... Do we have a way of scanning how many... Okay, this guy is scanning that, so you can add on... Wait, actually, no. We don't want that. We want just another one of you. Alright, so you are here. You are going to be scanning the same chunk, but you check if there are metallic asteroids, which is in here. So metallic asteroid chunks is greater than 50. Or, no, that's probably too many. Let's go 20. Then it can output a metallic asteroid crushing signal. And then we take that signal and we hook it up to all of these guys. And apparently that is too far of a jump. So I guess we'll just hook it up to this belt randomly and not do anything with it. And then hook it up to all of those. So you are enabled on metallic asteroid crushing signal greater than 0. So you... Which one did I set? Yeah, so you are now disabled by control behavior, and I just have to set that across to all of these. So now we shouldn't be recycling metallic asteroids unless we have a bunch of them. So that should solve that problem. And apparently some are getting through now. So I'm not sure if that's a coincidence or if it just started working very, very quickly. But I'm not going to complain. Alright, so that is that. And we're good. So that should provide us with enough fuel to get going, at least to some extent. Which should then get the asteroids spawning more. And then we should be all clear from there. Because once we have a lot of asteroids, then obviously it's not a concern because we're going to be moving fast enough and collecting enough asteroids that even with the recycling we'll still get plenty. Alright, so now that's going. And these can all just basically be running continually, at least these first two. And that should be that. So there we go. And now we're going well. And this is going to be a bit of a weird trip because of all the weird delays we had. It'll be marginally different than a usual one. Okay, a wall got destroyed on Novice. Why is that? Okay, that's fine. That's exactly what we want to happen. Very cool. Alright, so this is going. It's real slow, honestly. I was not expecting, like... Theoretically, we made the front, like, twice-ish as long. Because we had, like, 6 asteroid collectors, and now we have, like, 12. But we're, like, a third the speed, which is kind of crazy. We just need the additional front space to collect more asteroid chunks, though. So hopefully that works out. And yeah, now we're nice and stable. We've got plenty of everything, although we actually don't have a completely solid supply of water. So we might need to get this one ice recycler thing to lay off a bit. So that should actually be easy because we already have this guy in here. So you get connected up, and you are enabled if... Where's the symbol we were using? It was like this one, right? So this checks if we don't have a lot of ice. So this needs to be disabled if that is less than 0, and then... Right, so this outputs if we don't have much. So if this is active, which it currently is, then we need this to be disabled. How are we getting 2 of those signals here? How are we getting 2? Where's the second one coming from? Is this like one of these using that same signal and it's all wired in together? Yeah, that's probably it. Alright, that's annoying, but whatever. We're going to need to switch that then. So this is going to need to be... Let's have that be Snowflake. So if Snowflake is 1, then that means we don't have much ice. And so this needs to be disabled if Snowflake is greater than 0. Oh wait, no, that's enabled. So you need to be enabled if Snowflake is less than 0. Right. It was correct the first time. Alright, so our metallic asteroid chunks. Apparently this... Okay, this needs to be set to like 6. Probably. There we go. Now that's working. So this section is a lot shorter than it used to be. I think it used to go like all the way this entire half, but we've put some splitters in since then and broken it. So those numbers need to be a lot smaller. And you also need to be like 6. So that is that. And now we have enough ice, we have enough of that, we have enough of that, and we should be producing some amount of carbon. Instead, we're just backlogging this giant thing. Seems like that happens a lot. Alright, there we go. We are producing coal. Alright, so now we're just about getting to the sweet spot for asteroid collection. So let's see how well that does. We're getting a decent chunk more. We could add more side things to grab these ones that just go past. I don't know if that's necessary. I suppose it wouldn't increase the width that much, but it would increase the amount of stuff that we have. Okay, we're not tossing any asteroids, right? That would be wasteful. It seems like we're not doing it. And we are making coal. And everything seems to be going smoothly. And yeah, we might need to make this loop physically longer to store more stuff in it. It doesn't seem like that's a problem right now, but it could become a problem quite shortly. And we are officially sometimes throwing asteroids out because of the way this works. So this is putting 2 rows and compressing it down to 1 row. Is that what I want? I don't think that's what I want. So if we can... Let's see, most of the asteroids are being placed on this back row anyways. The exceptions are these ones in here, which are coming in on the top row. So if we can actually have this like do the opposite of what it's doing, that would be even better. So if you just go like that, maybe? So now the used asteroids are placed on the top row. The fresh asteroids are placed on the bottom row, and that should be dramatically more efficient. And okay, yeah, so we sprayed some asteroids out when that was still getting built. Now we seem to be back to normal. And if we're using both sides of the belt, that should be more efficient. Alright, off we go. And how much coal do we have? We have like 3.4k. I think last trip we got up to like 5k, but we're only halfway there. And yeah, this is the big massive waves that we like to see. This is going to get us all sorts of stuff. Although it looks like our collectors might physically not be fast enough to grab everything. Yeah, it looks like we're actually leaving some stuff on the table by not having more collectors, which is a bit of a shame. It's not that much though, and it's only like during that one giant wave basically. Okay, now this is buffering and throwing a lot of stuff away. We don't want to see that. Why is that happening? How is this output regularly firing? There shouldn't be... It's because this is stopping so much. Because there's not enough space on it. Okay, yeah, so we need to get even better at using both sides of the belt, I think. Because this way is apparently just not quite fully efficient enough. Now, if we just remove this, the whole thing will probably just grind to a halt. Right? So if we just do that... what happens? Do we just get filled up with asteroids and then we have nothing left to do? Alright, it might actually work. At least it's working so far. It is starting to stutter a little bit. And we have so much coal in here. So we take that out, and it is stuttering. It's hard to tell whether it's doing this more or less than it was previously. It's difficult to say. Okay, but we definitely have a huge surplus of ice. So this is still disabled. Okay, so this is not doing anything. Why are you disabled by... Oh, this has to be less than or equal to 0 in order for that to work properly. Right, that should have been obvious. So that should deal with the massive ice surplus slowly but surely. And we did eventually get up to 34 kilometers per second. So I guess that's actually great news in terms of how fast we can go. So there goes all the coal. And back down on Vulcanus. We should have all sorts of stuff. So we still need more big mining drills. We need a bit more cliff explosives and more tungsten plates. Back on Vulcanus, we seem to have just launched some rockets up. So what did you get? Okay, the cliff explosives. So that should be the entire supply of cliff explosives forever. And then we go back down to here, and we have coal going through the system. So that's good to see. And a whole bunch of drones are getting destroyed on Novice, which is not good to see. But ultimately, it just has to be fine. And we are getting our blue circuits produced. So yeah, the supply of plastic is functional. I'm not sure. Right, so the plastic goes over here to the red circuits and then into the blue circuits. And plastic bar productivity is slowly being researched, which should help with that. And these guys are speed moduled, but they're fluid ingredient short most of the time. So let's swap you over to productivity module. And swap you over to productivity module. So that will be more resource efficient, which means we'll be getting more plastic. And that's cool. Let's also just get beacons in just so that you're a little bit quicker. There we go. So that should keep them producing at a high enough speed to keep up with all the inputs they get. There we go. So now we're up to theoretically 8 plastic per second, but it's going to be less than that because we're still constantly short of, what do these guys need? Petroleum gas. Okay, hopefully our supply of cliff explosives will recover, because that is a big place that demands a lot of coal and a lot of explosives, which demands even more coal. So yeah, once that is done, then we'll be pretty happy. And it should be done pretty soon. So we still need another delivery of big mining drills and foundries, and then it'll be just tungsten plates, pretty much, from that point on. Alright, so the coal is going through. We still have some here, but it's gonna run out pretty quickly. And we're actually... Let's see, we're actually not low on resources at the moment. So I guess we'll have to see what that means for production when we leave, whether we get stuck or not. Now I did set this up with that, but that's set up, which, yeah, so we do want to just be leaving to get more supplies for the coal production. Although I'm not sure how beneficial that'll actually be with all these asteroids floating around. And this... Okay, so what we can do is we can connect this up to there and to there. Get both of them on read belt contents, hold all belts. So this is now much more representative of how much stuff we actually have. And the answer is still mostly ice. and not much of anything else. Alright, so we should be... Oh, we're waiting for a rocket to arrive. That's great. So we got our big mining drills in last second, and now we're waiting for another rocket to arrive. What rocket are we waiting for? Okay, I can't tell, but okay, good. It's the foundries. So that means that I believe all of our logistics requests, except... Okay, no, the foundries is more than 20 because these are only 5 per rocket. But yes, the logistics requests are being dealt with quite well now. And we still... Nope, we're officially out of coal once more. So we have just a little bit more plastic production to get the blue circuits running. And this... We still need that passive provider chest to be there, just for various purposes. So we are not going to just loot that for its 300 blue circuits. We are going to let this continue to run. And yeah, so now the last couple chunks of plastic are through. And the blue circuit supply is not quite enough to get either of these working again. But really, it could be a lot worse. Actually, this one might finish. It's very close, if not. Okay. That did manage to finish. Where's all this stuff coming from? All these guys are stopped. I guess it's just the last little delay of these guys running after the supply runs out. Okay, so that's fine. Now, is there anything else at all that we can... Productivity module. These guys can be productivity moduled. So you guys all get those. I imagine that cliff explosives can't. Okay, so this whole row back here, we should be able to productivity module those. Although that's... So this chunk down here is the excess that we dump off. So we shouldn't want to get rid of that. But those productivity modules should make the petroleum gas production more efficient. And the pump jacks are not at all the issue here. These guys are turned off. Okay, these guys are all speed moduled. I think we need to make you productivity moduled as well. And you as well. Just get as much efficiency on every single step of the process that we can. Speed is not the bottleneck when these guys spend like 80% of their time just being inactive. So let's get that done. Is there anything else? This is just steam to water, and the steam is just calcite and sulfuric acid, so that's not really a bottleneck at all. All these guys are productivity moduled. Everything that uses coal. The batteries don't actually use anything from that, so that's fine. Alright, I think that just is what it is then. And so this is now going. And it seems to be going well. We're up to 500 coal already. Alright, so Novice still has not managed to get any artillery ammunition. We need the tungsten plates. We need the tungsten plates so badly. So these both managed to get up to like exactly finished, so we are going to have 2 rockets worth once this gets back. Alright, so that is pretty neat, I would say. Alright. Something that we could do is we could try to like redesign this so that it's optimal, but I think this buffer is fine. It's like temporarily extremely wasteful, but in the long run doesn't really make much of a difference. Really what we need is, do we have more of those? Oh yeah, we've got like 50 of them on here. Alright, let's get a decider combinator, and you are going to read from there and output to there. So this will be hold all belts. So if that carbonic asteroid chunks are greater than 40, then you are going to output a signal, which will be that, and then you are going to be set output side right is carbonic asteroid crushing greater than 0, and left is going to be carbonic asteroid crushing less than or equal to 0. Alright, so we have plenty of carbonic asteroids, so it's sending them up there. And then if we don't have plenty, then it'll send them down there. And that should be that setup. It feels like, I don't know why, it feels like these decider combinators are way more necessary than they are like on the ground level. You need them a lot more in space for whatever reason. Maybe that's just because of how I'm doing things, but who knows. Alright, we are entering the sweet spot. All the asteroids are here. I don't know how we got going so fast there near the end. Like, we're still down at like the 14 to 15 kilometers per second range, but at some point I saw we were at like 30. I don't know why that is. So this is fine. And all the asteroids are being collected. And it also does look like they're being processed relatively well. So that's cool. Now this system, it is sending all the asteroids down this way, which is what we want at the moment. Alright. So the alternative thing that we could do is, how much power do we have to spare? We do have a decent chunk of power to spare. So if we were to productivity and speed module these guys, maybe if we were to swap these efficiency modules out for productivity modules, then it would work a lot better, obviously. Okay, so why are we not getting anything out? Oh, I see. So this has to backfill all the way, basically, until it starts diverting things up and to the right again. Alright, I don't know why suddenly it's filling this second half way more quickly. Must just be because of the changes I made with the loop earlier. which is fine, because if it's doing both of them relatively equally, that just makes it a lot easier. Alright, so now we have that, and it's doing its thing. Up to 1.6k, not even at novice yet. That is a very good sign. So these ones in here are able to find space to output their asteroids. That's good. And we're not wasting any since we removed that output thing, which seems to not have any bad consequences, which is nice. And now this whole thing is just working. Alright. Yeah, so things are looking good on the space platform. And we're now going at 34 kilometers per second again, which I still have no idea why that happens sometimes. Still have no idea why that sometimes happens. Maybe it's like once we get past the center spot or something. I bet that's it, actually. I bet it's like whether we're fighting the old gravity or working with the new gravity, which is not how gravity in space actually works, but I guess it's intuitive enough, maybe. Alright, we are up to 2.3k coal. I think that's a new record for 1/2 of a trip, especially with this much spare still floating around. And all of our recyclers are recycling, so that's good. And this is all working as well. Yeah, I think our platform here is pretty much functional. So now we just need, hopefully, one more trip before we can get artillery back on novice and get control over all this nightmare. So yeah, we have the crafting places set up. We just do not have the tungsten to craft the stuff actually. And I assume you count as an end product that can't be productivity moduled. That is correct. Okay, our tank shell production is actually broken as well. So what's going on with the plastic? Where do we normally put plastic in to the drone network? Is it anywhere along this whole line? Or is it somewhere else that I've disconnected? Alright, I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see where we do that. Now, I don't really want to take the plastic off of that. Oh, it's got to be from this one, right? Where do you output? You output your plastic up this way. And let's get that just set up. And I feel like this should already be connected, but I don't see where. So we're just gonna get that set up, and it's taking the drones a little bit, but there they are. Alright, so that is that. And this old, gosh, that's tier 1 productivity modules. That's ridiculous. Have to fix that. So that old plastic supply is now going to be running the dimensional depot, which I believe is probably just the tank shells, in all likelihood. Which we still definitely need some. Alright, I always forget that things go crazy every so often with the agricultural science. Alright, so this has dropped its stuff off and is making its way back. I don't know how much it actually wound up dropping off. The only thing left that we need from Vulcanus are tungsten plates. So let's get those tungsten plates. And this is still going. We're up to 3K coal, which is pretty neat. So these get more thrust. They get more thrust with higher quality. So we might have to just like, I don't know. It would make it a lot faster if we could just get this going. It's output full currently. So if we were to, do we have tier 2 quality modules? Did we ever make those? I think we've disabled wherever we made the quality modules, because I don't use them ever, and the green and red circuits are much more important. But I'm pretty sure we still have some quality modules lurking around somewhere, like, I don't know where. So let's just see here. Where are you? So if we go up to here, we grab quality module Mark IIs, and toss them in. Yes, we have none of those. Do we have quality module Mark Is though? We've got to have some, right? It's not giving us an error that we don't have them, so I guess we do. Alright, so those are now quality modules. And how does the percentage work? It's quality plus 1%, so this is like 4% chance. That seems